Back in 2016, Tesla released the Model 3, and on stage there were three beautiful looking pre-production Model 3s, and one of them was this like matte silver, almost bare aluminum looking color, and I always wanted that Model 3. We never really got that Model 3 because Tesla made a basic silver color in the Model 3, which got phased out, I want to say in 2018 or 2019, and we never saw silver again. So today is the day we're gonna make my Model 3 silver. I have a 2021 standard range Model 3 black with white interior, and I've always wanted to create that original silver looking Tesla that we saw back in 2016. All right, here she is all masked up and ready to go. That took me way longer than I thought it was going to. Several hours. Let's just say that, several hours. But it is ready to be painted. All right, so here's where we're at after applying the base coat. It took me a couple applications to get the technique down, I think, but we're finally done with the base coat. All right, so overall impressions. So first of all, I thought the masking process was gonna take about 2 hours max, and it ended up taking me about 4.5 hours, which in the long run ended up being a good thing, because when I was all done spraying the last coat and I was taking off the masking tape, it did end up creating really crisp lines and just making the overall teardown process easier. The second thing I want to note is that slow and steady does not win the race. Let me explain. Now, when I first started, it took me a couple passes with the spray gun to really get the technique down. And when I say technique, I mean you want to spray about 5 or 6 inches from the body of the vehicle, and you have to spray across the panel fast. When I first started, I was going over the panel slowly, and I was trying to cover the panel too much with the spray. And what was happening was it was getting too thick in certain areas and would end up running. One thing I wish I knew before I started was when you order your kit from dipyourcar.com, it gives you all the product you need, and it actually came with 4 gallons, which was 2 gallons of the base coat and 2 gallons of the top coat, which for me, I went with the aluminum top coat, and there was plenty of product to go around. And in my experience, 1 gallon coated my car 4 times. So that means that I used 8 coats of just the base, and then 8 more coats of top coat. So some panels on this car have 16 coats of Plasti Dipped. Now, what I mean by that is along the way, as this is my first time ever Plasti Dipping an entire vehicle, I made some mistakes, and there were some paint runs and just some texture issues. And so after a couple coats, when I realized that I had made those mistakes, I ended up having to rip off a couple panels. In fact, my trunk, the right rear door, the front right fender, and then the hood, the entire hood, I had to rip off after the 8 base coats. I wasn't sure how this was gonna turn out, but at the end of the day, with all of the coats around the vehicle, it looks great. You can't tell that some panels didn't get base coat and some panels got all 16 coats. It's amazing. So just keep in mind, if you're a beginner like me and you end up running into an issue with texture or with the paint run like I did, it's totally okay to just rip off that panel and start over. You can put more base coats if you have more gallons of your base coats, or just go straight into the top coat and it will turn out okay. So I guess the big question is, would I recommend plasti dipping your car as opposed to doing a vehicle wrap? And the answer to that question is yes, I would. I ended up getting the look that I wanted on my vehicle for a fraction of the cost. And if it's something that you're interested in doing, just be prepared to spend a lot of time. In all reality, I started on a Friday morning with hopes of finishing it late Friday evening and ended up finishing it 2 days later. It just comes down to patience, honestly. But please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or want any more helpful tips throughout the process. Thanks for watching the video. See you later.